Alright guys, back with another trade from today. What an awesome day. We have ABIO, right? So look at this nice pre-market action here. It starts up, man, like it was pretty active between 8 and 9:30, right? So the first opening of the market, it just kind of goes sideways, pulls back into your 20 EMA. Once it remounts the 9, man, it just takes off. It goes up, and then it kind of flags out and just kind of goes sideways. And at this point, a lot of people thought it was done for the day, right? Of course, it breaks the range again, presses up, pulls back to the 20, pull back close to the 9, hits the 20, holds the 20 again, pushes up. I mean, it's just textbook all day. Man, if you had taken this thing this morning, you could have bought roughly, 300 shares, right? And if you had been able, most likely the majority of you probably would have been out around up here, or at least maybe somewhere around over here when it goes sideways all day. My whole thing was I just kept riding my stop loss up under my VWAP, right? Because again, with it going up as fast as it was, I just didn't really know. I didn't have much faith that it was going to hold. But I thought, man, if it does, I mean, because again, you got to figure just from the 8 o'clock hour, right? We're up roughly what almost 200% at that point, right? So again, TC2000 new features, not a real big fan of it, right? But again, it goes up almost 200%, and it just kind of goes sideways. So, and of course, with the midday being the slowest part of the day, not a lot of action. It just kind of drifts and drifts and drifts, and then finally, man, here comes your end of day run. So I mean, this would actually be almost like an end of day consolidation, right? It just kind of just breaks, and when it goes, it goes. So a lot of FOMO, a lot of people pushed in, a lot of people didn't want to miss out on taking a piece of this bad boy. But man, this thing was awesome. And again, for people that don't understand, I always talk about aligning on multiple time frames. So now when I teach my students of our Parabolic Trading Bootcamp, I teach them that we need to align our charts on multiple time frames. Typically, especially when we're doing intraday trading, we want to make sure our daily charts look good. But I take it a step further. I align on multiple time frames even for my intraday charts, right? So I have a 2-minute, a 5-minute, a 15-minute, and an hour chart up here, right? And again, the reasoning behind this is that the more charts that I have that are appearing in my favor, the more confidence I can take in these trades, right? So again, if I have, let's say, two of the four charts are looking good, but two of the other two are not looking as good, I'm not as confident in that stock. So if I'm going to get into that trade, I'm not going to go normal position, or I may not even go heavy, right? I may lessen my usual risk by 50%, right? So if I'm willing to risk $200 a trade, I might be only willing to risk 100 or 50, depending on how much confidence I take or I have in this trade before I get into it. But again, as you can see, everything's aligning on multiple time frames. So on the 2-minute chart here, I'm going to see a lot of stuff. I'm going to see a lot of patterns that aren't really patterns, right? They may be a pattern, but they're going to be so short-lived, and you've got to be so laser quick. And a lot of people try to make that. They try to trade from a 1-minute or 2-minute chart, and they don't realize just how fast those candles move. And for something that pushes up quickly, it can push down just as quickly, if not quicker, right? So you have less time to react. So that's typically why a lot of people will go on trade on the 5-minute charts here. But again, I had gotten in over here. This is where I got in on this right when it pulled back to the 20. And once I got that green candle to hold there, I picked it up. I think roughly around, I think it was like $8 or it's like a little under 8. My stop loss was 10 cents, right? Just because I kind of felt like, even though it held the 20, and even on the next green candle, I was really concerned about how quickly it could fall, right? Because with it being up that high, I just kind of felt like, man, there's just no way I really want to risk that. So I kind of started raising my stop loss up a little bit. So once we got these candles here to move up, right, I was like, man, this is cool. Like I'm in this thing, and I just ran my VWAP. I just ran my stop along my VWAP the entire time, right? Because I figured worst case, I'm in the profit. So if I get stopped out at this point, I'm just getting stopped out and I'm still taking profits, right? But I'm allowing myself to remain in the trade so in case it does run, which I had a sneaking suspicion that it would run, right? But again, I don't know this because none of us can predict the market. But man, as it held this VWAP right here, I got real scared when it got close to the VWAP, right? Because my stop's right under the VWAP. Like, it's not on the VWAP, but right under it. I got a little scared when it started pulling back here. I thought, well, that's it, it's done, right? No big deal. So I went, got some lunch, watched a little bit of news, did a little bit of workout, came back. Guess what? Starts running again. So I'm thinking like, man, I was smart. So it was almost like everything was automated, and all I had to do was just kind of ride my stop up. Now, this is where I got out. Was up here because I didn't. I'm thinking like at this part of the day, at some point, I'm waiting for the end of day dump, right? Because to me, this just looked like a pump and dump for today, right? I mean, again, this stock has been for the last 2 months. It's been around, under $4, right? So I didn't think there's no way it was going to maintain this high level, right? But I did manage to get out like right around here. I think it was about 20. I think I got out at like 2013, something along the lines. But again, and of course, if I would have held it, it would have gone to 22. But I kind of figured that was going to happen as soon as I got out. But again, this is how simple this stuff is. Like, you can join our next boot camp, which we have starting on June the 8th, right? You can join our boot camp. I'm offering 60% off. Come learn how to how to trade these patterns that are profitable. You got to figure right now, a couple months ago before the last boot camp, in a crazy fit of guilt or compassion for my fellow Americans that were being just hammered by the coronavirus. I was crazy. Like, I was crazy. I offered just a crazy amount off. Like, I offered the boot camp for $499, right? And yet not one person took me up on it, right? Which was crazy. I get it. People were worried about how am I going to pay for my food? How am I going to do this? When am I going to go back to work? For $500, if you would have if you would have paid $500 2 months ago, you would have already learned how to nail this market. Because right now we're in a recovery, right? I mean, seriously, we can just take a look at the SPY. I mean, it's amazing. It's almost like the market doesn't care anything about this COVID-19. It's almost like it knows it's a bunch of bullshit, right? So let's see here. Hopefully we'll go back in there. Let's take a look at the daily chart, right? Look at this. Man, we're getting back up there. We're getting back up there. Now, I don't have my indicators for here. Let me pull up my other one here. So we have remounted the 200. So here we go. So we have remounted the 200 SMA, right? And as long as we hold above that, I literally think this is going to be a V-shaped recovery. I don't think we're going to, again, provided it holds the 200 SMA, and provided nothing else weird comes out, or we don't have a redo of this whole pandemic. I think we're going to be fine. I think we're going to be trending right back up to where we were. So considering where we were back in the middle of February to where we went, in the middle of March, we've come back almost, almost $82, right? On I mean, that's pretty damn awesome. Now granted, we went from 340 all the way down here to 220, right? So that's a $120 drop, but we're heading in the right direction. All of our moving averages, we've got support. We've got support from our 9, our 20 SMA. Our 50s curling up, right? All we need now is that 200 start curling up. And man, I tell you now, I think we will break the all-time highs later on this year. That's what I think. But again, you could come and learn from our boot camp, where we're going to teach you 20-something plus patterns, right? To the long and the short side. Sorry, I had to cough. No corona. But again, you can come to our boot camp, and we'll teach you how to nail patterns in stocks like these, right? Where you could essentially, if you're smart, you could almost double, maybe even triple your account size, right? If you have a $2,000 account or a $3,000 account, and you had bought just 200 shares. If you had bought 200 shares of this, in the pre-market, right? If you got 200 shares that here, that what we'll call this, roughly $4, right? Around the $4 mark. Let's just say for math purposes, right? If you bought 200 shares for $4, right? It would cost you $800 in your trade, right? It would cost you $800 in capital to get in that trade. But man, it went from $4 and it got up to the high was 22, right? But if you had just got it and sold it at 20, right? Like seriously, that's like $3,000, right? You would have made a $15 rip on 200 shares. You would have made $3,000 off investing $800, and you still got your, you've been fine. You wouldn't have lost a single dime. But again, this is how hot this stuff is. So again, I do have a webinar that's going to be live on YouTube on Sunday. There already is a link for it. It'll be Sunday at 12 p.m. So come learn a free pattern, right, that you can use the following Monday in the market and start making money. Sign up to the boot camp, get a considerable discount off for early bird pricing. And again, it's not going to be $4.99, but that ship has sailed. I was the good patriotic American. I saw my fellow American citizens suffering, and I tried to do what I could financially to make it viable for people to be able to learn how to be their own stimulus, to get how to be their own bailout plan, and how to quit relying on someone else and their business and the federal government to help you. So again, this is how hot ABIO was. And the sad thing is that I can just go through my liquid gainers and I can see all kinds of stocks that I would want to play today. Like this man. No, that's another hot one, right? Another small cap, easy pattern there, right? Come to our boot camp, you're gonna learn how to do red to green patterns, right? Where you could have seen this and you could have taken it as soon as it went right above the open line. Bam! You could have ripped some serious money on that. That's how simple this stuff is. But again, for those of you that are going to attend on Sunday, I'll see you then. And for the rest of you who are just looking through and kind of thinking about it, look, ABIO was simple, right? And you would have got that alert first thing this morning, and you would have ripped some serious cash, right? So take care, guys. Have fun.